So this is a very special match from Viper. I'll skip a little ahead first. And Viper's playing Macedonians. Viper is a Age of Empires 2 All-Star, probably the best player. And he doesn't play Age of Empires 1 much, so he's trying to figure it out. And Macedonians, just to tell you, they were added in Rise of Rome, and they have certain bonuses. For example, they have more line of sight. Notice the villager has more line of sight. And then there's slingers, I believe, have certain bonuses and certain things like that. But in this match, a lot of that doesn't matter. Look what Viper's trying to do. He's trying to herd the deer because the deer decays, the meat decays. So you want to get the deer as close to your storage pit or as close to your town center as possible. So anyways, so he's looking at, notice the pierce armor. The siege units and stuff have more pierce armor. But, so I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Basically, this is a tool rush. So with tool rush, there's a few macro strategies of attack when it comes to Age of Empires, right? One of them is a tool rush, which is you get to tool age where you have your archers, your scouts, your axemen, and then in Rise of Rome and afterwards, you have your slingers on top of that. Slingers counter the towers and slingers counter the bowman. So you can attack with overwhelming force and defeat them in tool age. And in fact, from my understanding of Age of Empires, when it first started, that's how players played. They would get the Chinese civilization because the Chinese civilization started with a villager bonus. It was really cheap for them to get villagers, so then you could boom up really quickly. So, but eventually people realize, oh, you can actually play different strategies. You can, if you survive a tool rush, then you're in an advantage if you've boomed on top of that, and then you can beat them in Bronze Age. So anyways, my point in explaining all this to you is that Viper's opponent is going to tool rush him. So another thing that's very interesting, see right now, Viper realizes, oh no. So Viper is doing a strategy that they do in Age of Empires 2 a lot, which is they wall using buildings. Because in Age of Empires, you start out with only what are called palisade walls. So those walls aren't very sturdy. So it's actually better to wall with buildings, especially because if you wall with military buildings, you can actually have buildings that defend and also generate attack. So unfortunately, that walling with buildings thing didn't work because the enemy came through. So the enemy comes through with axemen. So the enemy is right now in Tool Age. Viper just reached Tool Age 2. So he's pretty stressed out right now. He thinks he's about to lose, but it's anyone's game right now. So Viper has the slingers out already. The slingers, they have bonus damage against archers, but not against axemen. So if the axemen catch up to them, the slingers are toast. So Viper is currently in panic mode. Oh, I forgot. Slingers are in the barracks. That's right. The slingers are generated from the barracks, not generated from not the academy, the archery range. So if Viper clicks on the granary, he could get his towers, but he's not getting his towers. That would be a good counter against this current Tool Age onslaught. But again, he's figuring this out, right? He's new to Age of Empires 1. He's a Age of Empires 2 veteran. So let me see how fast we're at. So we're at 2. We're going to go a little slower. He's building ships. You could get fish there, which is food. You could also get scout ships. So that's a good... By the way, if you look at the right here, he's getting a lot of help from his fans who want him to succeed, right? They want to see Viper play Age of Empires as well on the first one as the second one. So now he learns to build walls. You have to get the walls from your granary pit right there on the right. So now he's trying to counterattack, which is, pretty good. You either survive and then boom, right? Or in his case, he just chose the counterattack. So he's scouting the base first. Unfortunately, the tool rush wasn't done yet. So that's an Age of Empires 2 technique to try to wall off the attack, but that strategy doesn't really work in Age of Empires 1. So Viper is an expert in Age of Empires 2, right? Which is why you see him do these strategies that wouldn't have made sense as much. But, yeah, he's surviving. He thinks, if you watch the original video, which I encourage all of you to watch, he thinks he's losing. He's very pessimistic during this game. But Viper is a micro champion. And Age of Empires 2 makes it easier to micro because you have different troop formations and troop movements that you can shortcut. Keyboard shortcut, that is. Age of Empires 1 is harder to micro, but Viper's also very good at macro, right? That's why he's the best player in Age of Empires 2 and one of the best players in Age of Empires 4. So, the whole time, look at how Viper is both microing, attacking, and he's still macroing on top of that. So just very, very good play, as much as he thinks he's not doing well. He's got farms. He's building houses. He's mining. So his entire army right now is just slingers, which is pretty good for Tool Age. Although, if I were him, I would have added some axemen, right? You don't want to go for archers now because the enemy has slingers too. So your archers are going to die really quickly, but it would help you if you had a few axemen or a few scouts even. The scouts could pick off the villagers. So I've never seen a slinger rush before. It helps because it helps to be slingers when you're Macedonian because you have increased line of sight. So slingers also have increased attack against towers like that. So building a tower was not a very good idea for his opponent. So Viper's giving chase, picking off the villagers. He still thinks he's losing if you watch the original. So look at that. Oh, duh. So Viper usually doesn't wall, but in Age of Empires 1, he's walled. Viper is notorious for never walling. So I guess when you're unfamiliar, right, when in doubt, wall a little. So he's trying to reorganize his troops first before they attack. You don't want them getting picked off. So, see, the Axemen, they have a little bit of tank. So that slinger's going to get destroyed. So it's like usually it's not the worst strategy. If someone tool rushes, you counter tool rush them. But you can also just let them tool rush and then let them waste their resources and time while you try to boom up to Bronze Age. So then once you hit Bronze Age, you can counterattack and they're still stuck in the Tool Age. So the ages of Age of Empires 1, it's Stone Age, Tool Age, Bronze Age, and then Iron Age. The Age of Empires 2, it's Dark Ages, Feudal Age, Castle Age, and Imperial Age. So, by the way, how epic is it that we know what Viper looks like now? I think it's been a mystery what he looks like. I remember when I first discovered Viper when I was in college, I always wondered what he looked like. So, Viper is counterattacking. And then picking off the villagers, right? Yeah, exactly. It's actually, I think, even better if you pick off the houses. Because then you population cap. Look up there. Viper he's capped at 52 right now. He only has 42. So he's okay. He's getting counterattacked. So he's sending his troops over. Take that hill advantage. Viper's really good at that in Age of Empires 2. That's part of micro. If you shoot from above a hill, which Viper is not doing right now, you get 3 or 4 times more damage. So he's trying to get on the hill. Yeah, he's going to lose this exchange. He needs to run. If I could give Viper any advice, it would just be he should have gotten some towers. Just because the enemy has axemen. Like, use your slingers to fight their slingers, but the towers are there to protect against the axemen. But again, what do I know? So, picking off the villagers, man. The slingers from the enemy team is approaching to defend. So, I think the difference between Tool Rush and Bronze Rush, Tool Rush and Bronze Rush and beyond, Tool Rush is much more micro heavy as you look at what Viper's been doing. Very micro heavy. Whereas Bronze and Iron Rush would be much more macro heavy, right? You just spam the units, send them over while you boom your economy. So I think that's what we're learning from this. And it makes sense that our man Viper is doing a Tool Rush back on the opponent because he's really good at microing. So yeah. He's also, look at that, he's still booming, right? So he's still working the macro as much as he's really, look at that, he's picking off the villagers. He's finding the villagers and picking them off. Because as you know, you need wood to build, but also to generate certain units. I believe slingers, I think slingers cost wood. They might not. I don't know. So, not too effective to go over there and destroy the barracks, but you're better off destroying the houses and destroying the villagers. He's getting counterattacked again. I think what's amazing watching Viper is how he can multitask like crazy. I wouldn't be able to multitask. One thing you can do is you can use your hotkeys and assign numbers to certain units. So that way you can go back to certain areas by just pressing the number. That's a good way to micro well. So there you go. Take out the tower. There you go. Take out the villagers. The slingers are epic, man. Did you notice they're epic against the towers? So the enemy's trying to build towers again, which doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense if they're out of resources, right? Because towers cost stone. But yeah, the enemy's about to lose. Yeah, he lost his villagers. So the enemy resigned. So again, Viper thought he was losing this, man, but he honestly was doing very well. And this shows the importance of micro when it comes to tool rushes. There's many ways to play Age of Empires, but for the first game, Age of Empires 1, in this case, Viper's playing the definitive edition. Tool Rush is an extremely proven tactic. It makes the game go quick, and you can knock out the enemy one-on-one. Tool Rush is the best one-on-one strategy. If you're playing more than one person, you might be able to take out one guy, but then the other people will make a comeback, and you will not be ahead. The other people will destroy you. So Tool Rush is the best strategy, in my opinion, for one-on-one. But if you're playing multiple people, you definitely cannot Tool Rush, because then you devote too much attention to one player, and then you end up not devoting attention to other players who have boomed and are going to attack you. So anyways, make sure to go follow TheViper. TheViper. Thank you, Viper, for inspiring all us gamers and aspiring gamers.